ukukhohlwe lokho.
Njengoba sengishilo izolo ukuthi lokho kwenzekile beku traumatic kakhulu. So as far as I know, ingqondo yami angeke ikwazi ukudedela kalula lokho.
As I said, that what happened was very traumatic, and my mind wouldn't just be able to let go of that.
Would that also include the identity of the people, of the perpetrators, of the two perpetrators who got into your house that day?
Lokho ngahlanganisa noma kufaka futhi abantu labo ababili abangena noma abangenela ngaloba busuku.
Yebo njani?
Yes, that's correct.
Thank you. Now, in terms of that trait, I would take it that you are telling this court that you will also not forget how the perpetrator who was in possession of the firearm on that day in question looked like.
Kulokho ke ngithatha ukuthi ke awungeke futhi umkhohlweke nalona owayephethe isibhamu indlela ke awayebukeka ngayo.
Kunjani?
That's correct.
Thank you. And this you are basing on the description of how he looked like that you have already told this court about.
Ukusho lokho ke kuloko obosokutshele inkantolo vele ukuthi ke waye kanjani noma wayebukeka kanjani.
Yebo njani?
Yes, that's correct.
Thank you. Now, on the basis of just this, what we've spoken about, would you be in a position, in an event, that you see the perpetrator with a firearm on that day in question, when you happen to come across the street or anywhere else, would you be able to identify him?
Uma ngabe lona ke owayephethe isibhamu ngaleli langa ngenzeka ke ukuthi uhlangane nje naye emgwaqeni noma ikuphi nendawo ungasho ukuthi uyena lo.
Njengoba sengishilo izolo ukuthi njengoba seku 8 years to 9 years, over time abanye abantu ba gain weight, abanye ba gain complexion, abanye bayayiluza.
As I've already said that it has been 8 years to 9 years. People, others gain weight, others get a complexion, others lose that complexion.
Abanye baphinde bashintsha ama hairstyle.
Others change hairstyles.
Kodwa umuntu mawuke wahlangana naye esigamekweni esifana nalesiya, igazi nemizwa nakho konke okusemzimbeni kuyasho.
But in a situation or an incident like that, when then you meet that person again, the blood, the feelings, the body just tells.
Now, I'm getting a bit confused when you say the blood, the feeling, and the body just tells. Would you explain that a bit?
Mungachaza nje lokho ngoba kunokungidida ke uma ukhuluma ngegazi, imizwa, umzimba.
Njengoba ngisho nje baba ukuthi sinama emotions. Into eke wafika endaweni ethile yenzeka kuwena, especially of that magnitude. Khona into eyenzekayo emzimbeni. Angeke ngikwazi ukuyichaza ukuthi njani, but ikhona into eyenzakalayo.
As I've already said, to say that we've got emotions, and once something of that magnitude happens, and so once you encounter it again, that it just tells, but I can't explain to you as to how, but the body just tells.
I'm still in the dark, but I don't want to make an issue out of this now. But the question was, would you be in a position to identify the first intruder who had a firearm in his possession according to your house on that day? I think that was my question.
Umbuzo wami ke usamile wona ke kuwena ke ukuba ukuthi uma ngabe ungambona futhi loya owayephethe isibhamu ngaleli langa ungamkhomba yini uthi uyena lo?
Yebo ngamkhomba.
Yes, I would be in a position.
Thank you. Now, you have used a very interesting, in the interview that you had that was played here at court yesterday, you used a very interesting word. You're saying the police were fishing in the same pond. They kept on fishing in the same pond for over more than 7 to 8 years.
Kunaleli gama ke olisebenzisile ke interview izolo ke uzochaza ngale ndlela asho ngayo ke ngesilungu ukuthi amaphoyisa afisha kuphonde yodwa noma abheke nje kuhlangothi olodwa kuphela isikhathi esingango 7 to 8 years.
Would you then agree with me that in that 7 or 8 years where the police were fishing, they threw in a net hoping to come out, or hoping that that net will come out with the person who you identified as a first intruder, and up until now, the first intruder who had a firearm, and up until now, their net keep on coming empty in respect of the first intruder?
Please, my lord, I really don't understand the purpose of that question.
Correct. The fact that the police have been investigating for 20 years in the same pond, she says 8 years. It doesn't follow that if they don't find what they are looking for, then it's consequently could be said it is impossible, ever.
I don't understand the basis of the objection, my lord.
Repeat your question, then he will tell you why he objects, maybe.
Thank you, my lord. Ma'am, on the basis of what you have just said with regard to the police fishing in the same pond for almost 7 years, would you agree with me that after they casted their net in this pond that you spoke about for a period of 7 years, the police had not been able, up until now, to come out with a person who you would identify as the first person or the first perpetrator who got into the house who had a firearm in his possession?
That's precisely the objection, my lord, that the accused have been arrested. It's for the court to make that determination. It's not for the witness to make that determination.
Why do you say, will you agree with me? Yeah, that's the problem with your question. That if it is for 7 or 8 years,
yes,
in that period that the police were fishing in the same pond, it means that they will never arrest the person who he was able to identify as the first suspect. Just listen to the logic in that submission. You are actually making the statement. You say, will you agree with me?
Yes, madam.
He's not making that statement.
Yes.
That's the problem.
Yes.
That's the problem.
I am saying this, my lord, that based on her testimony, that up until now, as I am cross-examining her,
Yeah.
and she's answering my question, the police have not been able to bring to court a person that she would say, this is the person that I saw on the 26th of October 2014 who was in possession of a firearm.
Okay, let's hear. What's your comment, man?
Kuze kube manje ke kuloko okushoyo ke uthi amaphoyisa ke ebheke uhlangothi olodwa kuleyo 7 to 8 years amaphoyisa ke akakezi ke ngaphambili noma ezenkantolo athi ke nanguke lo muntu lo omchaza wena ke nanjengaloya owumsolo wokuqala owayephethe isibhamu ngaleli yalanga nge 26 ka October 2014.
Okokuqala mangisho ngithi amaphoyisa abefisha kupond eyodwa angibuzi ngani ukuthi ngikhuluma ngayiphi pond before speculate ukuthi ngikhuluma ngayiphi.
Firstly, when I make that statement that the police are fishing or are fishing in the same pond, why then don't you ask me what is it that I'm referring to or what pond am I talking about before speculating?
Oh, you want clarity from me? I thought that was your answer. Oh, you want clarity? Okay, no, thanks, man. it is immaterial what pond were you referring to. You're talking about the pond that the police will go into when they dip their net with a view that their net will come out with a person who you would have come to court and say, this is the person that I saw on that day who had a firearm in his possession.
ukuthi ke yipi pond wena okhuluma ngayo ke akusona ke udaba lolo kodwa okubalekile noma kusemqoka ke ukuthi ile pond yona ke amaphoyisa azothatha inet noma umnatha wawo ke awuphonse kuyona uma eseyibuyisa noma esebuya nayo leyo net leyo ashoke ukuthi sibuyile nayo futhi nangu ke umuntu lo wena ke okhuluma ngaye othi yilo woqala umsola owayephethe ispa.
Now, the gist of my question is...
Don't make it long.
Oh, okay.
Ngiyabona ukuthi asitholani kahle mina nawe.
I see that you are missing each other myself.
Noma mhlambe awilalelanga kahle video. Angazi ukuthi iyona yiphi inkinga lapho, but into ebengiyichaza ke just so ukuthi siyatholana.
Okay, asibambe lapho. Maybe you didn't listen to the video properly, but I don't know which one is it. But so that the two of us are on the same page, yebo.
Ngaleso sikhathi bekune docket ephumile ekhuluma ngokuthi thina sesiyama suspects.
At the time,
Understand?
there was a docket that came out that said that we were suspects.
And leyo nto ibilokhu iqhubeka isikhathi eside. Size sibize sizothotsharwa sizofaka ku lie detector test senziwe zonke lezo zinto lezo ilento bengiyisho.
And that went on for a long time, where we were called, we were tortured, we were made to undergo through a lie detector test. That is what I was talking about or referring to.
In other words, kusho ukuthi bekubonakala thina singama suspect yet we are just witnesses.
In other words, we were seen as suspects yet we were witnesses.
So ngangicela nje ukuthi amaphoyisa akakanwebe ekwezinye indawo abheke kwezinye indawo kuzo bazothola umphumela.
So I was just requesting or asking for the police to just stretch to other areas or to other places as well to get the result.
Njengoba ke sebewutholile umphumela.
Now that they have found the results.
Thank you, ma'am. Me and you are on the same page.
Angiboni kahle.
I don't see like that.
On the basis of what you've just said now, that you requested the police to extend their scope of search. They should not just limit themselves into a particular pond. They need to go to other ponds as well. Indeed, they did that. Now, the gist of my question is, therefore, would you then agree with me that in their endeavor, upon your request that they should do so, they have still not yet brought a person that you would identify as the person who had a firearm in his possession that day? That is simply the gist of my question.
We don't want to belabor the point, but this is precisely the issue that this court is seized with, that the court has got to determine after the conspectus of all the evidence. It's not for this witness to say that, my lord. With respect, we think the question is inappropriate.
But the witness actually is referring to herself, according to her explanation. She says because the police were having a second docket, which presupposed that they, meaning herself and others, were being interrogated, put through lie detectors, tortured, that they suspected her also as being, amongst others, the person who entered the house with a gun, because unless there is a supposition that there was no person shot at that house. But if the cross-examination, as I listened to it, it's not disputed that a person was shot in that house, and she was in that house with her mother, Kelly, and others. Now she is saying they were also regarded as suspects. So that pond in which they were fishing was, according to her, not the correct pond because she regarded herself as a witness. That's our understanding.
Yes, but counsel has now moved a step further, and he says after the police, after having fished in that different pond, they haven't come up with someone that she can identify as the first suspect. Now
Okay.
we are saying
No,
that
fine,
is,
yeah, fine.
that is inappropriate. Is for this court to determine that.
You can keep that for cross-examination because it's argumentative as you are. You are arguing with the witness as you are aware now.
As it is the court, I can understand, ma'am. I realize that there's a bit of a problem with this question. Let us conclude it.
Yes.
Thank you. Let me conclude it by saying that I put it to you that up until this point, the police, in terms of their investigation, let us exclude the pawn thing. In terms of their investigation, they have not yet come up with a person that you would stand up there and say, I have met that person, I've seen that person, or I'm seeing that person who had a firearm in possession, who had a firearm in his possession that day. That's all.
Engizokusho kwena ukuthi amaphoyisa ke akakezike ngaphambili nomuntu ekuphenyeni nje kwabo nomuntu ongabusukuma kule ndawo ohlezi kuyona noma uhlezi khona kuyona umkhombeke uthi uyena lo ngambona yamazi uyena owayephethe isibhamu ngaloba busuku.
Njengoba sihleli la sonke siyabona ukuthi njengoba u5 behlezi lapha akekho ama dreadlocks. So mhlambe maningabafaka ama dreadlocks abanye nibanikeze complexion abebenayo mhlambe 8 years ago kwazi ba ukuthi kungaphumani.
As we all can all see, as we are seated here, that there are 5 of them seated there, and we can see that none of them has got dreadlocks. But if we were to put dreadlocks on one of them, and then the complexion that they had 8 years ago, who knows what may come out?
Futhi okwesibili babili abantu abangena endlini and right now ngibona abantu abawu5. So ukuthi bangena kanjani I think leso singayekela amaphoyisa.
And there were 2 intruders in the house, and here we see 5 people. As to how that came about, that we can leave to the police.
And of course the evidence iketholakele.
As well as the evidence that was found.
Yes, ma'am. No, I ideally respect that. I ideally respect that. But finally, you are unable to see any person who had a firearm or one of the intruder who had a firearm on that day.
Kodwa ke okugcina ke ukho kusimo sokuthi uyambona noma ungambona olona owayephethe isibhamu ngaleli yalanga.
Okwamanje ngiseneyintsolo kodwa ngifuni ukukhomba umuntu wabantu ngeintsolo.
For now, I only have suspicions. I do not want to point out the poor person based on.
Now let us try to go back to the scene. You say Tumelo had a POP, not so, that is a plaster of Paris, not so?
Uthi ke uTumelo wayene POP.
Concord, cement.
Eh?
He had a plaster of Paris.
I think ukhuluma ngoKhongolo.
Yebo kunjalo.
That's correct.
Yes.
Sekhuwa.
Or he had a cement. Or he had a plaster caster, I'm told, yes.
Yeah, hayi sesidlala ngamagama ke manje. Ikona nje lokho.
Yes. Now, you say at some point he also joined in the tussle, which we'll get to a few minutes later, that happened in the house. How did he manage to do that?
Uthi naye ke waba ingxenye leyo tussle.
Paris ngila and I think ikhothi yakubona lokho. uTumelo uyena ongakwazi ukuchaza futhi uyena owazi ukuthi ipain yakhe ibika kangakanani and ukuhamba kwakhe without ama crashes akhe enable kangakanani lokho, but otherwise angikwazi ukumkhulumela.
I'm unable to speak for him, and I think the court can also see that I am not Tumelo as I'm seated here, he's the one who will be able to tell as to how far he could walk and how the pain or his pain, how did it enable him.
When he joined the tussle, did he use his crutch or he just walked without the crutch?
Uma ke eba ingxenye yaleyo tussle lokho kulwa lokho okwakwenzeka ke endlini wayehamba ngecrutch ngama-crutch noma wayehambela nje ngaphandle kwawo.
Anginakanga kodwa into engikhumbulayo ukuthi elilodwa lakhona lalilapha phansi.
I didn't notice, but what I do remember or recall is that one of the crutches was on the floor.
How many crutches was he using?
Wayesebenzisa mangaki?
Ayi mabili.
2.
So at the time when you fetched him from the entry off ramp, he was using 2 crutches, not so?
Ngenkathi enanimthatha ngayo ke noma nim pick up ke kwi off ramp entry wayehamba wayesebenzisa wona O2.
Yebo kunjani?
Yes, that's correct.
And at the time when he alighted from the vehicle upon arrival at your home, when he got into the house, he also used 2 crutches, not so?
Nangenkathi senifika ke ekhaya esehla ke emotweni engena phakathi endlini wangena ehamba ngawo O2.
Yebo njani?
Yes, that's correct.
Do you know what happened to the other crutch?
Uyazi ukuthi enye kwenzekani ngayo?
Angazi.
I don't know.
Kodwa engikwazi ukuthi emva kweni emalangeni mayiseqhubeka futhi uhamba ngawo mabili.
But what I do know that as the days went by or went on, that he was using both of them.
Thank you. Now, at the time of the commotion in the house, when he stood up, did he use the crutches to assist you in pushing one of the perpetrators into the kitchen?
Kodwa ke ngesikhathi lisukuma ke endlini senibadudula ke nibadudukela ekitchen laba abawu2 abangena ngabe ke uma ekwenza lokho ke sukuma ehamba ekitchen nibadudula wayesebenzisa crutch noma ama crutch.
Ngicela understand we advocate ukuthi nganganakile uTumelo mina. Ngiyawubhiza ngibuza imibuzo ngoTumelo cha ngangabhekile uTumelo ngangenelwa isigebengu endlini bese ucabanga ukuthi uzobheka umuntu ohamba ngama crash uphethe elilodwa noma uphethe amabili.
Advocate, please understand the following, that I wasn't concentrating on Tumelo. Is it or can it be that you having intruders and now you are concentrating on someone, whether the person is on his crutches or not? My focus wasn't there.
That is understood, ma'am. But please, we also in a position that we should understand what actually happened in the house. And it is unfortunate that part of our understanding or the means through which we can only understand what happened in the house is through your testimony.
Ngiyakuzwa ke lokho okushoyo ke kodwa nakuthina ke ukuthi indlela nje esifisa ukuthi sazi ngayo ke lokho okwenzeka ke lokho singakwenza ke ngobufakazi bakho. I understand.
Thank you. And you'll also further note that in your evidence in chief, you also mentioned Tumelo several times, and it also came from you that he had the plaster caster in one of his legs. Do you understand?
Okunye ke futhi ozokwazi ke ukuthi igama likaTumelo ke ulichazile noma ke ulishilo kaningi kubufakazi bakho naloko ukuthi futhi wayefake ukhonkolo.
Ngiyakuzwa lokho kodwa kusho ukuthi phela ngangihleli ngidadisha uTumelo.
I hear you, but that doesn't mean that I just kept on focusing or studying Tumelo.
So your final word on this one is you do not know how he got to involve in the tussle, whether he used a crutch or not, but all that you know is that he also was part of the people who were trying to push the gunman to the kitchen.
Impendulo yakhe yokugcina ke kukona ke lokho ukuthi okwaziyo nje ukuthi yebo wayeyingxenye ke yaloko kwenzeka ukuthi nasukuma nabadudula nabase kitchen, kodwa ke ukuthi wayesebenzisa icrash noma ama crash lokho awukwazi. Yes, that's correct.
Thank you, ma'am. Now, you are seated in the dining room. When I say you, I mean all the occupants that you've referred to in your evidence in chief. You are seated in the dining room, and as you are seated, I mean in the sitting room, as you are seated there, two strange people get into the house.
Manje ke nihlezi nonke ngikhuluma ngani nonke ke nihlezi lapha ke dining room sitting room nisahlezi kanjalo ke kungena labantu abawu2 eningabazi.
Not so?
Kunjalo.
Yebo njalo.
Yes, that's correct.
Then one of them says he produces a firearm in front of you, and he says money and cell phones, but he's saying that in Zulu.
Oyedwa ke kubona wakhipha ispam wasethi ke khiphani imali nama cell phones ekusho lokho ngesizulu.
Yebo njalo.
Yes, that's correct.
Then Longwe jumps up, he pushes this person, he dashes out of the house.
Wasesukuma ke noma ejumpa ke uLongwe uya kulomuntu uyamphusha wase yenephuma endlini uLongwe.
Yebo njalo.
Yes, that's correct.
Immediately thereafter, you, meaning all of you, then stood up and you also pushed the person towards the kitchen.
Nase nisukuma ke ngisho nina ke abaseleke manje endlini nasukuma namdudula ukuye kitchen.
Yebo njalo.
Yes, that's correct.
I've tried to fathom, I've tried to imagine how this pushing could have happened, but up until now, I'm failing. So, and then I said to myself, I don't need to struggle about this because there's a witness who said there was a pushing, and I'm going to request her, which I'm doing now, to explain to this court how this pushing actually happens.
Ngizamileke ukuthi lento idlala emqondweni yami noma ngicabangeke kodwa ke angiphumelelanga ekwenzeni lokho ngase ngithi ke cha ukhona ufakazi ngoba uyena ke okhuluma ngako lokuphusha lokho ukuthi alichaze nje le pushing ukuthi yenzeka kanjani.
Yes.
So okokuqala ke njengoba bengisho ukuthi sasihleli phansi and then uLongo wasukuma wayesephusha lo wokuqala phambili wama-dreads. Ukumphusha kwakhe akamphushanga phezulu but uyabona ku rugby ukuthi mabephusha nabenza njani ku rugby if you watch rugby angazi but wamphusha kanjalo but on a lower part of his body and then waluza I-balance loyo wahlehla wayemuva between udongo lase toilet nase kitchen.
As I said, that Longo stood up and then pushed this person. And he didn't push him on the upper part of his body.
Yes.
If you do watch rugby, I don't know, you see how they would do, but they refer to as the scrum or how they push in the rugby. That is what I mean.
Okay.
And then this person lost balance and moved to the middle of the wall. Udongo lase kitchen.
Udongo lase kitchen ne bathroom.
As well as the bathroom.
Yes.
Yebo, maqhubeka.
And then makusenjalo angithi lo wesibili ube semnyango we bedroom ebhekane nekhishi and then wonke umuntu mayisukuma saqala ngalo ola emnyango ophusha umnyango kakheli and then sabadudula bonke saya nabekitchen ukuthi kodwa ubani wayehamba phambili angikho sure.
And then the second one is the one that was now at the door of the bedroom. And so when we stood up, we started with the one that was at the bedroom door and we pushed both of them. As to who was in front, I am not certain.
Now, as you push them, did they resist the pushing? Just try to paint a clearer picture to the court. What was their reaction? They just gave up when you pushed them? They were resisting, or what was the position?
Engifisa ukwazi ke manje ukuthi nanjengoba nibaphusha njena ke bayavuma ukuphushwa noma ke baya nabo ke bayalwa kwakwenzekani reaction yabo yayithini nanjengoba nibaphusha nje.
Bazama ukulwa kodwa sasibaningi.
They tried to fight or to try to resist, but we were many, or there were many of us.
fight, how did they try to fight? Did they try to push you back? I don't want to put words in your mouth. You see, that's my problem. So, but I just wanted to come from you. How this pushing thing happened. This
uma
particular
uthi
thing.
bazama ke ukulwa ingaba nabo nanithi mani nibapusha nabo benipusha back noma ngizama nje uunderstanda ukuthi lokupusha lokwenzeka kanjani.
Njengoba sengishilo ukuthi kwakungemina engangiphambili njengoba bengisho ukuthi ngangigcineni kanye noTumelo uyangizwa so ukuthi baphusha bayalwa manipusha nje nokunilwa niyale mningi action oyenzakala lapha yana so I can't say precisely ukuthi waphakamisa isandla wasehlisa wasisa phansi wasisa phezulu cha ngangaka record wonke lokho.
As I said that in all of that myself and Tumelo were at the back. So I am in no position to say as to how they did that because when there's this fighting or pushing, there is a lot of action that is happening. I'm in no position to say that they would raise his hand, put his hand down. I cannot give that detail.
Okay, no, thank you, man. Now, ultimately the pushing ended up or got stopped, or it stopped at the point where both perpetrators, now that's according to your testimony, both perpetrators or intruders landed with their backs at the kitchen door or on the kitchen door.
Kwase kuma ke lokho ke noma kusengasaqhubekiki uma bobabili ke manje sebefika noma sekufika ke kwisivalo sase kitchen bobabili ke manje sebeze ngemihlane yabo esivalweni.
Mawuthi kwakuphele lapho uchaza ukuthini?
When you say that it stopped, what do you mean?
No, I mean when they were being pushed, they were pushed up to the kitchen door, where they landed with their backs on the kitchen door.
Ngithi ke baphushwa baze bayofikelela ke eminyango laba bezeleke umnyango ngemihlane yabo.
Yebo njani?
Yes, that's correct.
And upon landing with their backs on the kitchen door, that would mean that their faces were facing towards the greater portion of the house.
Kusho ukuthi ke uma bemi kanjalo ke bona ke laba babheke indlu le noma babheke phakathi endlini.
Yebo njani?
Yes, that's correct.
Was there assault in the process of the pushing?
Kuloku kuphusha lokhu kwakukhona ukushaya okwakukhona.
Kwakukhona ukushaya ngendlela ethile.
In some manner, yes, there was some assault.
Can you tell this court about it? Who was hitting who? And
Awutshela
how?
lenkantolo kwakubani eshaya bani.
Njengoba sengichazile ukuthi nami ngazama ukushaya noTumelo wayesethatha icrash kumina kwawuyena okwazi ukufikela ukuthi ashaye so kwabanye abantu angazi ukuthi umuntu yena washaya kanjani nakhona futhi ngakunakile lokho.
As I've already said that I tried to assault and then Tumelo took the crash from me and assaulted, and as to with regard to the other people, I cannot say who assaulted how because I wasn't noticing or didn't take note of that.
Thank you. Let me put it this way. Before the two perpetrators were ultimately pushed towards the door, that is, in other words, before they could be pushed to the door, before they could arrive at the door, did any assault take place?
Ngaphambi kokuthi bafikeke eminyango ingaba khona ukushaya okwenzeka.
Njengoba sengishilo ukuthi ngangingekho phambili ngangisegcineni so angibonanga.
As I've already said that I was not in front, I was right at the back, so I didn't see.
Thank you. Now, as the perpetrators were being pushed, what's their position? Were they walking towards the door? Were they walking with their back towards the door? What is their position?
Nanjengoba babephushwa ke ingaba babehamba ke ukuya eminyango behamba ke noma bezele isivalo lesi ngomhlanje njengoba besiya nje bephushwa beminyango.
Babehlehla.
They were treating.
Were there any swearing there?
Kwakhona ukuthuka okwakukhona.
Ngikuzwanga.
I didn't hear it.
Were you not swearing at them?
Wawungabathuki.
Angithuki mina.
I don't swear.
When I say you, I don't mean specifically you, I mean your group. I'm going to use the word your group, referring those occupants who were in the house before the arrival of the two perpetrators.
Uma ngithi angisho wena ke mayisebenzisa le gama ka you ke ukhuluma ngani abebephakathi ke endlini.
Hayi angisakhumbula.
I can't recall.
Thank you. And upon landing with their bags at the door, the assault on them then continued. Oh, let me put it this way. Upon them landing with their backs on the kitchen door, what then happened?
Sebefikile ke manje bameke eminyango ke babheke phakathi endlini kwase kwenzekani ke lapho.
Engikukhumbulayo ukuthi suspect number 1 no Senzo babe dressilela isibhamu while mina ngizama ukushaya lo omunye ngecrash ngasafinyeleli no Tumelo. Abanye angisakhumbuli kahle ukuthi babenzani ngempela ngempela.
What I do recall is the first suspect wrestling with the deceased for the firearm, and then myself trying to assault the second suspect together with Tumelo. As with regards to the others, I cannot remember.
Thank you. Now, you have told this court that you were pushing from the back, and because some of the people who were trying to assault these intruders were taller than you, you could not successfully hit the person that or the intruder that you wanted to hit with a crash, not so?
Shiloko ukuthi nanti ngoba kwenzeka le pushing ke nokuthi abanye ke babantu ke laba babekhona ke lapho babe bade kunawe lokho ke kwakuvimba ekuthini ke ushaye lo ufuna ukumshaya.
Yep.
Yes.
And this is the reason why Tumelo then took the crash from you and assaulted or attempt or tried to assault or hit the second perpetrator there with.
Ileso sizathu ke esabangela ukuthi uTumelo abe seyithatha kuwena ke icrash leyo ashaye noma afune ukushaya ke lo owesibili.
Yebo kunjalo.
Yes, that's correct.
Now, in your quest or in your endeavor to try and assault this perpetrator with the crash, the second perpetrator with the crash, did he just stand there? Did he try to ward off the blows? Did he try to move away from the blows? What is their position?
Kulokho ke ukuthi uzame noma nizama uzama ukushaya lona ke owesibili ke ngayo icrash ingaba wayemile nje kuphela noma ke ezama ukuthi avimbe noma yina wayeyenza kuloko ukuthi awuzama ukuthi umshaye ngecrash leyo.
Kwesinye isikhathi wayezama ukuvika, kwesinye isikhathi naye azama ukushaya futhi.
At times he would try to ward off the assault. At times he would also try to assault himself. He himself would also try to assault.
When you say like when you try to assault, what do you mean by that? Was he trying to assault you?
Owayephambi kwakhe.
The one that was in front of him.
How did he attempt to do that? How did he try to assault him?
Ekwenza kanjani lokho?
Mangisho njalo kuningi okubekwenzeka laphayana, so I can't really specify ukuthi wayifinga incindi noma wayiphakamisa noma washaya low blows cha. Angikwazi ukukusho.
When I say that, I'm in no position to give a description as to whether he had it was with his fist, it was trying to hit with low blows. I cannot tell because there was a lot that was happening there. But there was fighting.
Thank you, ma'am. It's well understood. You know, the reason why I'm asking this is because I think my colleague for accused number 1 and 2 asked you whether the second perpetrator had anything in his possession, and then you said you did not see anything. Did I capture you well there?
Imbangela ke ukuthi ngikubuze lokho ingoba ke oqeda ukubuza manje ke ummeli imibuzo noma oqede izolo ke ummeli kaMsola woqala nowesibili wakubuza noma ukubuzile ke ukuthi lo owesibili khona yini isikhali awayesiphethe kuwena wathi cha.
Yes, she said she did not see.
Wathi awuzange ukubone.
Iqiniso le.
That is true.
Because this is what Mthokozisi would come and tell this court. I see you smiling. This is what Mthokozisi would come and tell this court, and the state is going to call him. He would say that the second perpetrator had a firearm in his possession. I'm sorry. Had a knife in his possession.
Ngoba ke naku okuzokhulunywa umthokozisi bazombiza ke abombuso nanjengofakazi ukuthi lo wesibili yena ke wayephethe ummese esandleni sakhe.
Okokuqala angena umthokozisi naye umthokozisi ubone akubonile. Nami ngize la ecourt ukuzokhuluma lokhu engikubonile. So angeke ngithathe statement samthokozisi ngisenze sami.
Firstly, I am not Mthokozisi. Mthokozisi will tell this court what he saw. I am here to tell this court what I saw. I won't take Mthokozisi's statement and make it mine.
And njengoba kunjena nje njengoba bengilonke ngisho lokho kushoyo angubonanga.
As I said, that which you are saying now, I didn't see.
So you are saying your version is you did not see a knife in the possession of the second perpetrator.
Wena ke okushoyo ukuthi ummese awuzange ubone uphethwe kulo wesibili ususpect.
Cha, ngizange ubone.
No, I didn't.
That is even at the time when your group was assaulting him and he was trying to...
Please, counsel, make progress.
The witness says she never saw a knife.
As it is a court, my lord. Now you are saying that because of the fact that you a little shorter and there were other people who were in front of you and you were at the back, that's your version, not so. That is now you are at the back of these other people who were in front of you when you were assaulting the second intruder.
Uthi umfushi ngoba umfishane wawusemuva futhi ke kwakunabantu abebephambi kwakho ngalesikhathi wena ke ushaya noma uzama ukushaya lona owesibili.
Yebo njalo.
Yes, that's correct.
And there was a commotion there.
Kwakho lokhu kulwisana ke noma lokhu uwrestler kwakukhona ke.
Yebo njalo.
That's correct.
Now, at what point were you then able, or were you unable to then see his face? The second perpetrator, when you were at the back and other people were in front of you?
Uma kuwukuthi ke wawusemuva kunabantu abaphambi kwakho ubuso bakhe ke ubone nini?
Njengoba bengisho naphambilini ukuthi mude ukudlula abantu abaningi abebelapha endlini.
As I earlier on or previously said that he's taller than the people that were in the house.
So ukumbona kwakulula kakhulu.
So it was very easy to see him.
Okwesibili la bengihleli khona kulo position ebengihleli khona. Kwathi makuvuleka umnyango lapha. Umnyango obviously awuboni ukuthi ubani ongenayo up until umuntu azavala umnyango. Yakhumbula ngisho lokho.
Do you remember me saying that where I was seated, the original position where I was seated, when someone opens the door, you're unable to see as to who is coming in up until the person closes the door.
Ukongeza futhi lapho labantu mabengena endlini abanokhanga. Thina lokishini mawuzongena emzini womuntu uyagokota. So ngangifuna ukwazi ukuthi ubani lo ngena onganokhile so ngapopola ngathi.
And to add on to that, in the town, these people didn't knock when they came in, and in the township, we knock when you enter someone's house. So I wanted to see who is this who is coming in without knocking, so I peeped through.
Ilapho ke ngambona khona.
That's where I saw him.
Futhi ngabona ukuthi kusho ukuthi akayedwa lo phambili babili.
And then that's where I then realized that this one that's in front is not alone, there are two.
You say the sequence in which they got into the house was that the one where the firearm in his possession was the one that was walking in front, and the second perpetrator with nothing in his possession was behind the one with the firearm.
Uthi indlela akabangena ngayo le ukuthi lo wayenesibhamu waqala yena, lo owayengaphethanga lutho walandela.
Yebo njalo.
Yes, that's correct.
Now let us get to the attire that the first perpetrator with a firearm had. How was it clothed?
Asizeke lokho ababegqokile ke. Lona yena owayephambili ephethe isibhamu wayegqokeni.
Njengoba bese ngishilo ukuthi emva kwa 8 years into ezincane njengama details ukuthi ukhala bani ijezi noma yini they slowly fade.
As I've already said that it's in the period of 8 years, the finer details as to the color, the jersey, those fade away.
But into enganyamalala ubuso bomuntu.
But what doesn't go away or what doesn't fade is the person's face.
What does that supposed to mean to my question, man?
Ngabe lokho kusho ukuthini ke kumbuzo wami?
Umbuzo wakho into engisho ukuthi as to ukuthi wayefaka ijacket noma ijini noma yini lokho kumina bekubalekanga kankakho.
What I'm saying, or what that means to your question, is that whether the person was wearing a jacket, a jean, that was not important, that important to me.
Iso lami lagxila ebusweni, lagxila emzimbeni ukuthi uqatha noma umncane neinwele nesigqoko if befake njengoba bengisho ukuthi befake isigqoko lo munye efake ihood ngoba yayila izinto ezinjalo azikhohlweki but into efana nokhala nemake nedesign really
my eye was concentrating on the face, the person's build, whether it's a small build or hugely built, and as well as the hair, what the person was wearing on the head. But as to the color, what the make, no.
Thank you. And that is because memory fades away.
Logo kwenziwa noma logo kungenxa yokuthi ke imemory iya fade.
hayi yonke,
Not all of it.
minor details.
Logo okuncane.
The second perpetrator, how was he clad?
Owesibili yena ke wayegqokeni.
Owesibili ngikhumbula ukuthi wayefaka ihood
The second one, I remember that he was wearing a hoodie.
njengoba ngikhumbula ukuthi oqala wayefaka isigqoko
Just as I remember that the first one was wearing a hat.
njengoba bengisho futhi ukuthi gaqila kakhulu la phezulu.
As I have already explained that my concentration was on the top part.
Now, up to what point of his face did the hood go?
Le hoodie lena ke ibifinyelela kuphi la kuyena?
Oh, let me start here. What is this hood? What's a hood?
A hoodie.
Hoodie.
Oh, a hoodie. Yes. What is it, hoodie?
Ihoodie i tracksuit kodwa leni nesigqoko.
Yes.
Yeah, it's a tracksuit, but the one with the
Uyabona nje le efake accused number
Just a
5.
second.
the one that accused number 5 is wearing.
Something like this.
Yes.
Oh, this is a hoodie.
Hoodie.
Okay, thank you. So the second perpetrator is something like this.
Njani?
That's correct.
Now, did this thing that appears to be a head on the hoodie, was it on his head? Was this portion on this garment that appears to be a head? Maybe this is the hoodie, I don't know, but this portion, was it on his head?
Head or head?
Head.
Okay.
Head.
Yayila ke nekhanda.
Yebo kunjani?
Yes, that's the case.
that is up until the squeamishness in the kitchen was over. This portion of the garment was on his head.
Loko kwaze kwayophela lokhu okwakwenzeka ekhishini ihudi leyo ikuyena ekhanda.
Loko angeke ngibe nesiqiniseko sakho kodwa mina mengisuka ekitchen ngibalekela ebathroom ngayishiya isa on.
That I won't be certain about, but when I ran from the kitchen to the bathroom, it was still on.
And despite the fact that, you know, I'm tempted to request you to demonstrate this court. How did it let it, you know?
Ungayigqoka nawe emnumzane ngizokubonisa.
You can also wait, I'll show you.
The rules of court do not allow me to do it, you know.
Nami angeke ngikwazi ukuyifaka ngoba nginestyle sami esihle kabi ngisebenze kanzima ekseni ngisilungisa.
I also won't be able to put it on because I worked very hard. I've got this beautiful hairstyle that I have on.
Okay, no, it's fine. We leave it at there. I don't want to interfere with all those morning efforts, ma'am. But thank you. Now, you say, you testified in your evidence in chief that as you were in the bathroom, that is, before you could run to the bathroom, there was a first shot that was fired in your presence while you were in the kitchen, and when you got into the bathroom, you had two other further shots, not so?
Oshilo ukuthi nkathi usesekhishini isibhamu saqhuma uma use bathroom ke saqhuma kabili futhi use bathroom.
Yebo njani?
Yes, that's correct.
Thank you. Now, the police came. This is just the background of my question. The police came the following morning. They were able to retrieve two exhibits that were allegedly fired from a firearm.
Amaphoyisa afika ke kulandelayo ke base bethola ke lokho kubizwa ukuthi ama exhibits amabili ke so asithi ke ehlamvu ke ezadutshulwa ke noma eziphuma kwisibhamu leso ke esasetshenziswa khona lapha.
Now, as you went on, some days thereafter perhaps, as you went on to clean your place, you know, shifting the sofa, the things in the kitchen there, you know, doing spring cleaning, did you ever find another exhibit? It could have been yourself or any of your family member that you would have alerted the police with?
Uma sekuhamba amalanga ke seniqoqa ke senicleana ke endlini nenza lokho akubiza ukuthi ke spring cleaning, ingaba kukhona yini ubufakazi obatholakala ke enani ngathi ke nazisa amaphoyisa ukuthi sithole lokho noma ngithole lokho ngathi ngiclean endlini?
Okokuqala akusimini ngaclean endlini. The last place I wanted to be in kwakuyilendlu.
Firstly, I'm not the one who cleaned the house. That was the last place I wanted to be at that house.
And at this point angazi ukuthi ubani wa clean endlini.
At this point, I don't know as to who cleaned the house
Ngoba futhi kwakungabalekile kumina.
because that wasn't important to me.
Yes. Come and tell this court. Or maybe before I get to that, you were asked yesterday whether were you in a position to describe the kind of a firearm that the first perpetrator had, and then you said you can't because you do not know the types of firearm, not so.
Buziwe ke izolo mayelana nesibhamu ke ukuthi ungachaza yini washo ukuthi ibhamu uzazi.
Yebo njani?
Yes, that's true.
Thank you. Now, in one of the statements, that is A19,
So
A9.
If you read, can you also give me a copy so that I can also see what you read?
The copies. That's A9. Yes, thank you, Mr. Sibande. I know this has got nothing to do with you, but in just the holistic approach, which will form part of our argument at the end of it all, he would say, I think that is paragraph 4. It starts on paragraph 4. That's paragraph 4. It's an unusual handwriting though, but it said suddenly at about 20 hours on 24/10/2014, 2 unknown men entered their house. 2 unknown boys came in to their house. There is it. Yes. Suddenly, at plus minus 20 hours, on 26 October 2014, 2 unknown boys came in the house.
Lana ke statement esikalogwe esithi bavele nje ngabo 8 ebusuku nge-26 ka-October 2014 kwangena ke abafana ababili esingabazi endlini.
And I hear a voice saying, "Take out phones and money."
Ngezwa ke izwi lithi khiphani ama-cell phones, amafoni nemali.
I then approached one of these boys.
Ngaya koyedwa wabo.
I grabbed him and pushed him.
Ngambamba ngase ngimphusha.
He was armed with a revolver, a 3.8 special.
Wayephethe i-revolver ewu-3.8 special.
I then ran out to look for help.
Ngase ngibaleka ngiphuma ke ngiyobheka usizo.
Thank you. That's the position that I wanted to bring to your attention.
Iloko ebengifuna ukuthi ke ngikufundele kona.
As you have indicated, you don't know nothing about firearms.
Ubusushilo ukuthi ibhama uzazi.
John.
Yes, that's correct.
Thank you. Now, he also made a further statement. Yeah. Now, in the statement that we are preparing here, I think that is where your interest is going to be. Hmm? As it please the court, my lord, Mr. Sibande was assisting with the technical operation of the system. We're still trying to search the statement. No, I don't know how to say it. As it please the court, my lord, we are very sorry to be wasting the court's time because apparently what was loaded in the system here is a different A113. So the state is trying to assist us with the retrieval of a relevant A113.
Can you read? Can you read?
Oh, I can read it. Okay, no, thank you. Thank you. Now, on paragraph 5 of this A113, this is what he says, or this is what longer will come and tell this court. He will come and tell this court that just as Kelly was about to tell the joke, I noticed two black guys, yes, one tall, light in complexion,
uthe nje uKelly uma esezochaza ke ihlaya noma esezosho ke ihlaya ngabona ke abalisa ababili ke abantu bamnyama omunye emude futhi ke ekhanya ngebala.
Maybe just before you comment on this, let us go back to a description of the perpetrators in their house, or the perpetrator, the intruders who got into your house. Let us start with the first perpetrator who had a firearm. What was your description of him?
Ngaphambi kokuthi ngiqhubeke ke ngofunda le ngifundayo asibuyele umuva ke umchaza ke lo omfishane ke noma lo wayephambili ke ephethe isibhamu uthi uye wathini uma umchaza?
Ngithe lo qala phambili ube nama-dreads acishe ukufika entanyeni between intamo namahlombe, ngathi ube namehlo amakhulu aphumele ngaphandle, ngathi ube nama-facial contours.
Okay. When I described the first one, I said that he had dreadlocks that almost reached his neck, between the neck as well as the shoulders. He had big protruding eyes as well as facial contours. He wasn't tall. He was also not very short. Yes. Now also said that he had a hat on.
Yes, proceed.
Those are the things that I noticed.
What was his color in terms of your evidence in chief? What did you say his color was? That you told this court about your evidence in chief?
I said he was darkish.
Thank you. But this is what Longe will then continue to say. That he noticed that the two black guys, one was tall, light in complexion. Tall, light in complexion.
Okushoyo ke uLongwe ukuthi ke omunye wabo ke wambona ukuthi wayemude futhi ke light ke noma ekhanya ke ngecomplexion.
Now before we get there, you have just given a description of the person that was in possession of the firearm. And what was your description of the other perpetrator, the one who had nothing, who you did not see anything in his possession?
Lona ke uqeda uchaza ke manje lo uthi wayephethe isibhamu lo omunye ke wayengaphethe lutho yena uma umchaza uye wathini?
Ngithe mude okokuqala.
First I said he's tall,
mncane ngomzimba,
small in build. Yeah. He had a mustache that goes right around his mouth.
Right.
And that he wasn't dark and he was also not very light.
Thank you. Those were observations. Now Longwe would come and tell this court that the tall guy who got into the house, that is now according to his statement here, was light in complexion, and you're saying he was dark in complexion, not so.
Ulongwe yena ke uma emchaza ke ngokwale statement esifundwayo ke ukuthi yena uzothi ke lo omude waye light wena uthi waye dark.
Okokuqala asiboni ngokufana.
Firstly, we don't see things the same.
Mina mangibuka leli bhodlela ngathi li light blue ufike wena uthi li green. Indlela wena ubona ngayo nami indlela engibona ngayo.
The witness referring to the bottle that's right next to her, in front of her, that if I look at it, I would say that it is light blue. You would come and say that it is green. That is how you view or you see it.
So what you're saying is, Longo might have made a mistake in saying
No, she's not saying that, please. She says,
their observation.
yeah, she says Tandu is expected to observe the things you're quoting for her. She has her own interpretation and observation, which she has told the court. That's why she says you may look at that bottle and you say, she says, I say it's light green, somebody says it's blue,
Someone will come and say it's turquoise.
somebody says it's turquoise.
What will the other one say, my lord?
Turquoise, that's what he says. Turquoise. You don't know the turquoise color.
I'm hearing that term for the first time.
Is it?
As it pleases the court, my lord, but thank you. That will be what Longo would come and tell this court. But further on, he made another statement. But let me just read it. Now, unfortunately, this statement is not numbered. But there's a paragraph that I'm going to read out there. I don't know, it's not numbered, but let me just read out. I think it will be eloquently interpreted. He says, in his latest statement, I noticed two guys getting inside the house. The one who came first was short, dark, having dreadlocks with cheekbones.
Uthi lana ke kulesi sinye sifundayo ke manje statement ngabona ke amadoda amabili amnyama engena endlini. Lona ke owayephambili ke noma oqala ke wayemfishane dark ka eneyiqhomo
And he was
ama dreadlocks.
And he was wearing a jacket that was between khaki or light brown, in bracket beige.
Egqoke ke ijacket eyayingakhaki, light brown noma beige.
He says he cannot remember his other clothing.
Okunye awayegqokile athi akakukhumbuli.
He was followed by, immediately a tall one followed.
Waseke elandelwa omude.
He was wearing black hoodie.
Fake hoodie emnyama.
He was light in complexion.
Light noma ke ekhanya ngebala.
That is to say, he still emphasizes that the second suspect who got into the house was light in complexion.
Lana ke usagcizelela ke ukuthi lona omude waye light ngebala.
Angeke ngimphikise ngalokho. Ngenzeka into njengoba sihleli la maybe 50 eRomani. Kuya ngokuthi wena ubone ujike nini wayibona leyo nto futhi wayibona kanjani and futhi from which angle.
I wouldn't dispute it if that's what he's saying.
Yes.
It is possible that as we are seated in this room, there are about 50 of us, that you see something. When did you see it? How did you see it? From which angle? And when did you turn around to see it?
And futhi sonke singabona into eyodwa kodwa si experience ngeindlela ezihlukahlukene futhi eziningi.
We can all see the same thing, but experience it in different ways and many ways.
Futhi ngeyikhathi engafani.
At different times also.
Yes. Thank you for that explanation, ma'am. But then finally from me, on behalf of accused number 3, the state has also provided us with a statement that it had disclosed. Unfortunately, the name of the witness is not in the list of state witnesses there, but I realize that in the list of state witnesses at paragraph 113, the state says the name of certain witnesses have been withheld for security reasons. I presume this is the case with this witness.
Kune statement ke lana okugcina ke kumina njengoba ngimele umsolo wesithathu kune statement abasinikeze sona ke kodwa ke kuhlalwa amagama ofakazi angiboni igama lalofakazi noma ke asibhalwanga kodwa ke khona la basho khona ke kulolahla ukuthi ofakazi abathize amagama abo angeke achazeke ngezizathu zokuvikeleka.
Now this witness basically would come and tell this court, because the state is going to call him, will come and tell this court that on the date of the happening of this incident, he got a call from your sister Kelly.
Lo fakazi uzoza ke azotshela ke ngoba bazombiza ke azotshela inkantolo ukuthi ngelanga ekwenzeka ngaso isigameko ekwenzeka ngalo isigameko lesi wathola ke ucingo olubuya udadewenu uKelly.
Unfortunately, as she tried to explain what was happening, there was a conversation breakdown. When they tried to call her back, they couldn't reach her.
Ngeshwa ke esachaza ke noma esazama ukuthi achaze ukuthi kwenzakalani kwase kukhona nje ukunqamuka ke kwinkulumo leyo yabo uma esezama ke ukuthi abuyele kuyena ke akazange amthole.
Subsequent, they then phoned Tumelo Madlala.
Base ke emuva kwalokho ke befonela yena uTumelo Madlala.
And Tumelo Madlala informed him, now this witness whose identity we would not disclose.
Wase ke uTumelo etshela lo fakazi lona engithi ke igama lakhe alichaziwe.
That Senzo has been hit by a bullet.
Ukuthi ke uSenzo ushaywe inhlamvu.
And this happened as Senzo was trying to intervene or separate a fight that was happening between yourself and Longwe.
Futhi ke lokho kwenzeka kathi ke uSenzo ezama ukuthi avimbeke noma ahlukaniseke ifight noma ukulwa ke okwakukhona phakathi kwakho kanye noLongwe.
That is the information that is contained in the statement. Do you have any comment, ma'am?
Iloko ke okukulesi statement ingaba khona yini ofisa ukusho.
Okokuqala mina noLongwe sasingalo.
Firstly, Longwe and myself were not fighting.
Sasi happy kabi mina noLongwe we were in a very good space.
We were very happy, myself and Longwe. We were in a very good space.
Kuze ngimmeme ukuthi aze ekhaya lokho kuchaza ukuthi sase right mina naye.
For me to have invited him to come to my home,
yes,
that explains that myself and him, things were good between the two of us.
Yes.
So lesho yo manje hayi angiyazi.
So that which is being said now, I know nothing about.
Thank you, ma'am. That will be all from me on behalf of accused number 3.